Welcome to Security with Spirits. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm joined at the bar by
Ben,
Jonathan,
and Tony. We're going to tell you what to drink while we talk about why we drink.
All right, so what are we drinking tonight?
got Lagavulin.
Irish whiskey on the rock. I've got a glorious brand new bottle a friend gave me of Tullamore Dew, and it's Irish whiskey that was put into a Caribbean rum cask to finish it off. And it is amazing. I've got it on the rocks with some cherries.
Tonight's cocktail is the Oak Barrel Guardian. It's a whiskey sour meets penicillin shot, inspired by my recently ill colleagues who kept their blue team passion despite feeling like they've been hit by ransomware. This is whiskey, blue curacao, lemon juice, honey, orange bitters, and a little bit of fresh ginger. It'll cure what ails you.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, well, we'll have that recipe online. That way you can also give it a shot and try it yourself. Yeah, you guys are killing it. I went with an off-the-shelf bottle of Long Branch. It's all right.
You can't go wrong with Matthew McConaughey's whiskey.
This is the part where you get to know us and decide if you want to stick around. On Security with Spirits, we don't like to relish the headlines. If you want experiences and pragmatism about working in IT security, all swirled with drinks and mirth, you've come to the right place. So join us, get a little wisdom nugget, put it in your pocket, take it into work tomorrow.
Don't plug it into your computer.
Since this is our first podcast, we figured you might want to get to know the crew. So I will start off. So my name is Jason. I've been working in healthcare IT 20 years now. I started out whenever I was 7 years old. Hopefully somebody buys that one. So I've been pretty much jack of all trades, been through service center, been through server team, network team, security team, leadership, pretty much any role, you name it. I've been through it. So that's it, and I kind of figured we could open up the gauntlet to questions. So I'll open up the mics to the team, and what you got for me?
Jason, what was your first real experience that exposed you to the world of IT security?
As far as IT security, it was early on in my career, and the healthcare system we did not have firewalls back then. And I was an advocate of firewalls. I was trying to push the corporation to buy a firewall. They didn't see it. Oh, by the way, this was like 2003. So it was pretty early in my career. Kept pushing them to buy a firewall. Wouldn't do it. I was out at a company barbecue, and I said, "Oh, well, this was back before, work from home and all that kind of stuff." And I was like, well, you can work from home now. So I went to the home office of the CFO, because the barbecue was at his house, and had him dial into the internet and connect right into the servers at work.
Wow.
Monday morning, I had my firewalls ordered. That's where it all started.
Wow. That's pretty brave.
Yeah.
So, Jason, when did you know that security was your passion?
I think even before I started, entering the workforce, it was something that I really enjoyed. As a kid, I was always, all the movies were coming out. I hate to say it, but hackers, stuff like that. It was something that kind of got the high school lunch crowd worked up and excited about all these different security aspects and everything. And yeah, I've just been kind of doing it ever since. It's something that's always interested me. It's something that I think it's one of those branches that touches every other branch of IT, as well as, now the organization. You can see organizations are putting forth effort into secure and effort, or cybersecurity efforts and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been interested in cybersecurity since I was a lad.
You're right. It is the IT next level step.
Well, and especially healthcare IT in particular, right? In your experience, how is that different from a cybersecurity perspective than just general IT?
I would say cybersecurity for healthcare is a lot newer. They're slower to adapt to it. So it's a pretty new field in healthcare. You can look at other places, of course, banks and stuff, they got to keep everything secure, but I hate to say it, but healthcare is one of those ones that it just kind of gets overlooked. It's getting better, it's getting bigger, it's growing, but yeah, healthcare is kind of behind the race of cybersecurity compared to other industries.
Jason, what is your security orientation? Which way do you swing?
Oh boy. That's a good question. So whenever I was a kid, obviously I wanted to be a red teamer. I wanted to hack into everything, and I'm not gonna lie, there's still a piece of me that still likes the throwing a little bit of anarchy into the mix of the day to day. I like to just kind of poke and prod and see where things kind of break down. But ultimately, unfortunately, like as every cybersecurity job in America, you really fall to the blue team. Really, it's just kind of keeping the bad guys at bay so you can get your work done. So that's 9 to 5 is definitely blue team. But after hours, I don't mind kind of poking around and seeing what's out there for me to connect to.
So, with that said, what is your favorite cybersecurity inspirational media? Be it a movie, TV series, comic book?
Well, you were fortunate that I'm a few drinks in, and I'm going to be really super honest with you. So, whenever I was a young lad, I was introduced to an amazing movie called Weird Science.
Oh yeah,
I thought you were going to say Swordfish.
yeah.
And a young lad and his 13, 14, 15-year-old, I can't remember whenever I actually saw the movie, the idea of making a woman was fantastic. I loved it. I loved everything about it. But, as I grew up a little bit, I always loved computers. I really did. I always loved everything about it. Anytime we were one of the first communities in the area to have a computer lab. One of my favorite games was I would always go in and complete my computer work as fast as possible, just because, A, I love computer work, but B, Monkey Island was available. You gotta finish the computer work quickly so you can get to Monkey Island. I love Monkey Island still this day. The new game's coming out in I think September 18th or something like that. It's Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not paid for this at all, but I absolutely love the game. Still a fantastic game. Go and play the first two. They are amazing. Just phenomenal. I literally play the Monkey Island first and second game every single year. As I grew up later in life, I had the inspiration of hackers. I had the inspiration of everything else. I remember one day I was kind of going down that dark path of the red teamer that was poking and prodding in places where I shouldn't be. My mom, who worked the night shift at the hospital, called me up and said, turn on the TV. It was PBS. Turn on the TV. There's a documentary about Bill Gates I think you need to see. And it was Bill Gates talking about Windows, and he was talking about QBasic, and he was talking about how just simple things that you can do with a computer. And that started turning me a little bit to I can be helpful with computers. I don't have to be this destructive force that, of course every teenager wants to be, is I'm going to just crush everything and, tumble empires and stuff like that. And I can actually help people. That's really what got me hooked. Is I started working, I started actually going in and helping out, doing internships and stuff like that at the local hospital. I started writing programs with it. At the time we had the AS400. Started writing programs for them that would really help out the organization instead of being, the red teamer that was poking and prodding. And it felt good. It felt good to walk around the hospital and people were like, oh, you did this. That's cool. Thank you. So yeah, that was really what got me into security.
That's awesome.
Oh, Weird Science.
I have to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, I think everyone would agree that if you could program and download your significant other, that family law probably wouldn't exist.
It's still a good idea. What are you talking about?
That movie shaped a lot of young men's minds. Let's be real.
I mean, Kelly LeBrock, come on. And even Robert Downey Jr., Bill Paxton, man.
Game over, man. What's your nugget of wisdom, Jason?
My advice is whenever I started out in the IT field, oh man, this is like being on the psychiatrist couch. Psychiatrist a couch where you can drink. I think whenever I started earlier in my career, I looked at my boss, and of course it was, he was a couple levels up, but he was my boss. He was the guy who originally hired me, and I really idolized the guy. I thought he was amazing. I literally saw the guy sleep in his chair. He was so super dedicated to the organization, to the mission, to everything is what I saw in my eyes. Come to find out, about a year later, he was let go. I really started questioning things. I was a very young lad. I really was kind of new to this whole thing. I was really trying to figure it out. And at that point, I decided that's when I need to make every leader that I come into contact with, I need to make that a lesson. So that is the ultimate nugget of wisdom that I can give to anybody is every interaction that you have with everybody is going to be a learning experience. Whether good or bad, you can still learn something from them. Whether it's this is how I should be, in my career, or whether this is how I should never ever treat people. That is the ultimate thing. You can learn from everybody, you can figure out something, put it in your playbook, and live by it.
Yeah, that's good. Being able to meet people and learn about them, learn from them, not necessarily directly them teaching you, but for them just seeing how they interact with other people and see the results and things, absorb as much of everyone else's experiences around you as you can.
And I still, to this day, and I remember we made so much fun of this saying as it happened, but still to this day, I'm like, shit, that holds true, is unhappiness is the result of unfulfilled expectations.
I remember hearing that.
Oh, we're getting zen now. Listen to him.
I that came from the most unexpected source, and whenever we heard it, we were just like, oh my gosh. We had memes around it, we had everything. But to this day, I'm like, wow, that is truth.
Talk about breaking down a subject.
Thank you for joining us in our first introduction episode. This was an introduction to me. Please stay tuned if you want to listen to the introductions for Ben, Jonathan, the bartender Tony. For now, I am your host Jason, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.